Well, markets globally seem to be running on a whole lot of exuberance. Yesterday, US stocks rising on a new flurry of merger action where many see it as a reflection of improved sentiment about prospects ahead. What's your perspective on market movement right now?
Yeah, certainly, Alishia. I think there's something that's come into the market, and I think, the fact that there's some loosening of purse strings also coming, as you mentioned earlier, with the merger and acquisition activity that we're starting to see. So, yes, certainly there's some exuberance in the market. However, we're still trading in thin markets. A lot of the players away, and so that will obviously impede on how far up the stocks will rally and how much stronger the currencies will become.
So let's hone in on the JSE specifically, because we've seen the market piercing that 32,000 level. But the fact that we are seeing such low volumes highlights that many shouldn't read too much into this move higher above a psychological barrier.
Yes, certainly. I think, also the market is holding its breath for the GDP numbers coming out of the United States a little bit later today. I saw that the GDP in the UK came out at 2.7%, a little bit less, just slightly less than last time, and slightly less than expectations. But then, in reaction to that, the FTSE went up. So I think all eyes then will be turning on the mortgage application data coming out of the United States, the housing, new home sales data also coming out of the United States, and the GDP data. So a lot of focus is now shifted to that, and I think based on the things I've read this morning, there's actually quite a big optimism as to where that figure will come out. I think they're expecting that there'll be a strengthening also to about 2.8% in the GDP data. So yes, there are some factors limiting the potential for today's market to rally, and I think there are fair factors such as the thin market environment, as well as the data that still will be coming out of the United States today and tomorrow.
And of course, as that dark cloud still hangs over the Eurozone in terms of the level of contagion that we possibly could see come to the fore when it comes to the debt situation over on that end. Having said that, China has voiced its encouragement of the IMF and EU measures to support economies moving forward. What have you made of that announcement?
Sure, I think it's, I think the market received that statement from China very well. I think we all do know that perhaps there are some caveats in there, and perhaps, there will be a hefty price for the European Union members to pay for Chinese assistance. However, I think, with the downgrades that the European Union members have had to endure this week, as well as the rest of the year, I think that is a welcome change to say that the second biggest economy in the world will be stepping in and trying to somehow mitigate the risks and the losses that been sustained in the European Union.
Let's take a look at some of the performances on the top 40 here in South Africa today. We've got Mondi at the top of the list, and some would say coming as a surprise, where we know these paper stocks have been pretty unloved over the recent past. What are you making of this close enough to 2.5% move higher?
Yes, I think it's in response to the UPM industry consolidation that they announced yesterday. They're doing some acquisitions there, and I think that has translated to Mondi, where the players are expecting that price negotiations will be easier in the industry, as well as some kind of consolidation happening there to help the industry better. I think paper and forestry in the European bourses yesterday was up about 4.9% in response to the acquisition that's going to be happening there, and it has been very well received and obviously translated into Mondi, so very good news there.
In terms of Richemont, we got that share price up 1.4% as well. Run us through some of the major factors driving that share price higher today.
Yeah, there was a report that came out of the Swiss government yesterday that exports of Swiss watches had gone up about 30% in November. So that obviously translated into Richemont, and it was very, very good news there. And we've seen our players also really liking that news, having more faith in the stock, and that there's actually a turnaround happening in the Swiss economy. I think also on top of that was that the Swiss stocks in general went up quite a bit, and that was very well received, and seemingly certainly there's some kind of turnaround happening in that industry and in that market.
Taking a look at some of what's boosting the optimism today in Ntombenhle or over this festive period, it's the heightened noise we're hearing around M&A activity globally. Here in South Africa, we've got the Walmart and Massmart deal squarely in focus. We've got Cosatu looking at setting up meetings with Walmart, wanting commitment that it would respect South Africa's labour laws and not undermine unions specifically. What's your view on this deal going through as opposed to flopping like we saw with HSBC and Nedbank?
Yeah, I think strategically, it is a good idea for Walmart to actually speak with Cosatu and engage with them in terms of the existing Massmart union contracts that they have with, the various unions. And Cosatu is a big player politically and with affiliated unions. So, it is a very smart move for them to engage with them seriously. And I think what Cosatu came out saying is that they want Walmart to be, sourcing locally for their merchandise and to also then protect the members of the retail industry and not try to squeeze out other players. So I think, going forward, Walmart will need to pay serious attention to that because, their track record hasn't necessarily been good in the United States and in other key economies where they operate. So I think the Cosatu will be watching that very closely. And but my belief is that they will try to come to meet each other halfway. They will try to negotiate this out because it is a good vote of confidence into the country, a vote of confidence into our retail sector. So going forward, I think they will try to somehow meet each other halfway.
Very quickly, your perspective on Pioneer Foods' bid for KWV, because things seem to be getting a little bit trickier as fund manager Opportune has submitted the Promotion of Access to Information Act application. Let's run through what that means and what exactly they're looking for, because it's that price tag of 12 Rand a share that's being brought to question.
Yeah, I think, from inception, when Pioneer firstly made that offer to KWV, it was not well received. Management believed that, at 12 Rand per share for KWV was not reflective of what they believe the business is worth and what they believe the prospects of the business are worth. I think they were looking for more around about 18 Rand, between 18 Rand and 24 Rand per share as an offer. And now with Opportune coming in saying that they want access to the information that KWV has lodged and to find out exactly how do they plan to achieve this expected return of equity of 15% in 5 years. How exactly is it that that is going to be achieved, and to get access to it, because that obviously it has major implications on the current bidding price, whether it is undervalued or it is far more valued than what it should be. So it has become very tricky. It has become a very sensitive issue as far as the actual shareholders, the farmers, in the Cape that are involved in there, as well as what management is saying, and as well as what the Pioneer offer is brought to the table. So, and I saw in the statement that Pioneer actually hasn't commented on the application made by Opportune, and so it should play itself out very interestingly for the next couple of weeks.